Hi Aquarius. This is Gina. Thank you for joining me today. I just finished recording your March horoscopes. I realize that it's March 1st and having that up tomorrow will make them a little bit late, make that horoscope a little bit late. Um, but it will be up tomorrow. And I just thought now was a great opportunity to check in a little bit more casually about the current astrology and what's coming up. I have sort of two different sides of my channel. I have the horoscopes that I do every month, and I also have this daily astrology live, which usually I use just to talk about the current astrology in general, or maybe focus on a particular transit. But with so much interesting astrology right now, particularly in February, March, and April, I am taking one round through all of the signs just to do sort of a more casual check-in. So feel free to leave any questions in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this later, and I will respond. And let's just have a quick chat about what's happening with the astrology right now. It really is such an interesting time. The big news is that today Venus is stationing retrograde. Let's circle her on the chart. So this hasn't happened just yet, but in the next couple of hours, Venus here in Aries will go retrograde. And that retrograde process will involve your second house and your third house, Pisces and Aries. And there's just so much happening along that axis right now. Let me actually move this out of the way for a second and talk about that. There's so much here. There's so much going on. Chiron has been working powerfully through Aries, helping us with healing ourselves, healing the way we assert ourselves in the world. This Venus retrograde process will go back and forth between Aries and Pisces, helping us all to refine our relationships, sort of upgrade the way we're showing up with people that we love, for the things that we love, for ourselves, for who we're meant to be in the world. We have the moon here now as well because we just are coming off of a Pisces new moon just in the last, day and a half. And after that moon was conjunct the sun, it went across all of these other Pisces planets. So it was just been a very sort of healing, emotional, sensitive couple of days. I think things feel a little bit more motivated, more energetic when the moon is in Aries. We have Neptune in the North Node here in conjunction with Mercury as well, but I'll get to Mercury in a second. Neptune in the North Node is helping us to dream really big dreams and actually try to ground them in reality where it's what was really meant for us. This is an amazing time to manifest, to build, to engineer the life that you want in this next stage, especially where concerns the things that were really meant for you. Whether you believe in destiny or fate or karma or genetic memory or whatever you're bringing in terms of beliefs around the idea of what was meant for you, the North Node can represent that fate and that destiny. And combined with Neptune, such a rare and exciting alignment that Neptune is about spirituality, about breaking past what we can rationally understand. It's about the spiritual, it's about the divine. And so that combining with the North Node is helping us to bring those dreams really down into fruition in our lives. Mercury is also about to go through a process, just like this Venus retrograde is starting today. In 15 days, in the middle of March, Mercury will also be retrograde in in Aries and in Pisces. So Venus and Mercury will sort of travel together through a retrograde across these houses and signs. Saturn is helping to ground all of this in practically. And I think that Saturn being here in Pisces with all of this Pisces energy, which is so watery and so emotional and mystical and sort of hard to grab onto, so absorbent and sensitive of energy. And I think that Saturn here has been so helpful because Saturn is helping to ground us. Saturn gives us a way how. Saturn says, okay, here are the practical steps. Here's a solution. Here's what you can do to actually make this happen. You know, he can help to ground us in reality. I think sometimes people worry about Saturn transits or when they see Saturn coming up in the chart, and I think that that's because we have associations with Saturn, meaning we need to do some work, right? There's work there. But I really have been enjoying Saturn moving through Pisces for the last 18 months or so because it's been helping us to find solutions that we couldn't find before. It's been giving us answers to problems that we knew what the problem was, but we didn't quite know what the solution was. For you, Aquarius, specifically, you've been working on themes around your values and sort of your treasures. So there may have been, the second house is all about what you value, the things that you have that have value, sort of your treasures and what you treasure. So it can relate to your earnings, what you actually earn, not money that comes to you through a spouse or inheritance or anything like that, but your actual earnings. And it can also relate to your values, what means the most to you. Money means a lot to us. We use it to buy things. It has value. Other things have value as well. Your spiritual practices, time with your family, whatever it is that really matters to you the most. Maybe it's spending time in nature, pets, having the time and the energy for those things can be a second house related idea as well. So you may have found for the last month or so that you've been grappling with those themes a little extra. And in some ways, maybe even for the last year, those things have been coming up, those themes. And then we have the third house as well that relates here with this Pisces Aries story. And it's connected to your communication, the way you navigate your local area, and it can be siblings and extended family. And it can also relate to sort of self-worth and self-value. And there's something in here that I'm connecting with you, Aquarius, and it's got to do with the South Node in Virgo as well. I just don't even need this, do I? I don't need this little thing. It's just in the way. We're talking about the whole chart. It's hard to talk about one specific thing at a time. It's a great time to look at the big picture. There's something for you, Aquarius, that feels like it's connected this time to learning and connecting with your own self-worth, self-esteem, self-love a little bit more. And I talked about this quite a bit in your March horoscope. I think that that's something that you've been working on. And I think that as this month unfolds, it's going to sort of come into being on a whole other level for you. There's a way in which you're tapping into your power with Pluto newly in Aquarius. And I think that with so much happening here in Pisces and in Aries, so many of these retrogrades, one thing that I do want to mention, because the third house is related to communication and we have two different retrogrades happening here, go slow. Go slow this month. Slow down. Because Aries energy, which is where we are here with the Venus and the Mercury retrograde coming up, they want to move fast. Aries energy wants to move fast. But we've got two personal planets retrograde and they can't move fast. They really can't, and they don't want to. They want to go backwards. So it can sort of feel like being on the gas and the brakes at the same time. And this is when misunderstandings can happen, because maybe you sort of stumble over your words, or you get ahead of yourself and you leave something out that's really important. Or you move on too quickly and then you end up having to come back and redo the conversation. So a tip for everyone this month, but especially for you because these are falling in your third house, which relates to your communication. Just go slow. go slow, because it will minimize the misunderstandings and any confusion. And I think it'll just help you to maintain that peaceful energy as well. You kind of like to move fast anyway. You have a lot of Aquarius. You're here because you're an Aquarius. You have Aquarius in your chart. That isn't exactly a slow moving energy either. So I think it's interesting the way that this Venus retrograde is beginning just as Mars retrograde has ended. And they're both sort of in houses and signs where they're a little bit uncomfortable. So I think this has been a process, and this house relates to daily routines for you, Aquarius. It relates, and actually the Mars retrograde stuff can be found in your February horoscope on my channel. You might want to check that out. Your March will come out tomorrow, but February's out now. And it's always interesting to look back on a major transit like a Mars retrograde. For you, it's some work on daily routines, both in terms of your self-care, like your health routines, the way you exercise, the way you eat, the way you sleep, things like that. And also your work routines, like what you actually do at work each day, and just your daily routines in general, whatever that looks like. So there's been a process happening there, just like there's about to be a process happening here with Venus. And it's interesting because those personal planets, Mars and Venus, which are obviously connected and bonded in astrology, like as a pair, as the masculine and the feminine sides of each of us, and we each have both of them, they're both in signs where they're uncomfortable. So they're both sort of being asked to do things a little bit differently. So now and the recent past and the recent future, uh, the near future, great times to just do things a little bit differently. Allow yourself to change. It's so natural and easy and common to just keep showing up the way we always have, especially when we're around people who expect us to do that, right? Which is everyone. It's only natural. It can be difficult to change, but I think right now it isn't. There's so much turning over. There are so many processes happening, outer planets, inner planets. Like, the astrology right now is just so interesting with Pisces and with Aries, so many endings and beginnings. And I think that now is a really easy time to change, actually, and to start doing things differently. And all this energy in Aries is really going to help all of us to do that. It's you're not going to take a lot of stuff you shouldn't take from others. Aries energy doesn't really tolerate what it doesn't deserve. So you know how to be yourself and assert yourself right now. We all do. And I think that that is helping to give us this energy to do things differently too. And now with Mars moving direct, there's more motivation, more confidence available as well. So please check out your February horoscope and your March horoscope. I'm taking a look here at my chat. Well, someone's asking about a spiritual practice for right now. Great, great question. With all of this energy in Pisces, I recommend anything with water, right? Whether that's walking near water, making sure you drink plenty of water. Healthy escapism can be really helpful during this time. Watching a movie or listening to a favorite album, escaping reality in sort of healthy ways can sort of scratch that itch to not do it in unhealthy ways, like with alcohol or something like that. Getting plenty of sleep right now is another thing that I would advise, and dreaming, paying attention to dreams, and slowing down. Is slowing down a spiritual practice? I think slowing down is a spiritual practice. It requires finding the pause button, which is a spiritual practice, right? How do we remember to slow down when we want to move too fast? How do we maintain that awareness when, yeah, just to sort of stay present enough to remember to slow down, I think is a spiritual practice. So those are just a couple ideas. And I thank you so much for being here. Check out the horoscopes on my channel. Yours will be up tomorrow, Aquarius, at the latest. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll be back again tomorrow.